Test delay everyone. Can you hear me, Dveshla? Okay. Test delay everyone. As always, we'll start by setting up a motivation, which consists of 3 parts: refuge field, bodhicitta field, and the purpose of this class. For refuge field, visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and all other enlightened beings who you respect or who inspire you towards fearlessness and infinite happiness. For bodhicitta field, visualize your 2 kind parents sitting on either side of you, your mother on the left and your father on the right, and you are accompanied by all dear mother sentient beings of the 3 realms, living none aside. Imagine here you are the mother and leading them in this practice. Next is the purpose of the class, which is to manifest the Buddha nature, the ultimate source of happiness, which is obscured by the 2 mental defilements, the gross afflictive obscurations, which consist of afflictions, contaminated karmas, and their corresponding active imprints, and the subtle cognitive obscurations, which are the subtle inactive stains of the afflictive obscuration. Keeping these 3 points in mind, we'll recite from page 3 of the Blaze of Non-Dual Bodhicitta. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Taking refuge and generating bodhicitta words 3 times. Sangye chodam sogi chonam la chanchu phado dagi kyapsu che dagi tinsogi petso namgi chola penche sangye tu persho. Sangye chodam sogi chonam la chanchu phado dagi kyapsu che dagi tinsogi petso namgi chola penche sangye tu persho. Sangye chodam sogi chonam la chanchu phado dagi kyapsu che dagi tinsogi petso namgi Tola Pinche Sunday to show. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of living and so forth, may I become good to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of living and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations of the practice of living and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no rising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience helps subdue, expound a variety of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostration. The one who has illuminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble right ways, to you, the Buddha, I make prostration. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. The essence of dependent origination mantra. The page level play the recording.
Ye dharma hetu prabhava hetum tesham kathagato तेषां जयो निरोधा एवं वाति महाश्रमणये स्वाहा ॐ ये धर्मा हेतु प्रभव हेतुं तेषां तथागतो ह्यवत तेषां जयो निरोधा एवं वाति महाश्रमणये स्वाहा ॐ ये धर्मा हेतु प्रभव हेतुं तेषां तथागतो ह्यवत तेषां जयो निरोधा एवं वाति महाश्रमणये स्वाहा
Meaning of the mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the Great Seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite, such as the nectar light Dharma have discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times, I pay obeisance. 4 Seal. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teaching until the end of the expansive of Aeon. How does he remove their miseries by his hands? Spiritual realizations are not transcendent teaching truth of such that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, today we'll continue from where we left off with the commentary on the Awakening Mind by Arya Nagarjuna, that is verse 86. When through practice it becomes firm, then alarmed by others' suffering, the bodhisattvas renounce the bliss of concentration and plunge even to the depths of relentless hell. This is indeed amazing, praiseworthy it is. This is the excellent way of the sublime. That they give away their own flesh and wealth is not surprising at all. Those who understand this emptiness of phenomena yet also conform to the law of karma and its result, that is more amazing than amazing. That is more wondrous than wondrous. Those who wish to save sentient beings, if they are reborn in the mires of existence, they are not sullied by the stains of its events, just like the petals of a lotus born in a lake. Though bodhisattvas such as Samantabhadra have burned the wood of afflictions with the wisdom fire of emptiness, they still remain moistened by compassion. Those under the power of compassion display acts of departing, birth, and merriment, renouncing kingdom, engaging in ascetic penance, great awakening, and defeating the Maras. Turning the wheel of Dharma, entering the realm of all gods, and likewise display the act of going beyond the bounds of sorrow. In guise of Brahma, Indra, and Vishnu, and that of fierce Rudra form, they perform the compassionate dance with acts bringing peace to the being. For those disheartened on existence road, for their respite, the true wisdom that lead to the great vehicle had been taught. They are, however, not ultimate. As long as not exalted by the Buddhas, so long the disciples will remain in a bodily state of wisdom, in a swoon and intoxicated by absorption. When exalted, then in diverse forms, they will become attached to others' welfare, and if they gather stores of merit and wisdom, they will attain the Buddha's full awakening. Because the propensities for two obscurations exist, these propensities are referred to as seeds of existence. From the meeting of the seeds with conditions, the shoot of cyclic existence is produced. The paths revealed by the saviors of the world that follow the patterns of these mentalities differ variously among the diverse people due to the diverse methods employed by the Buddhas. The instructions differ as the profound and as the vast. On some occasions, an instruction is characterized by both. Though such diverse approaches are taught, they are all equal in being empty and non-dual. The retention powers and the bodhisattva levels, as well as the perfection of the Buddhas, the omniscient one taught these to be aspects of the awakening mind. Those who fulfill others' welfare in this way, constantly through their body, speech, and mind, who advocate the dialectic of emptiness, there is no dispute at all of being nihilistic. Neither in cyclic existence nor in nirvana do the great beings reside. Therefore, the Buddhas taught here the non-abiding nirvana. The single taste of compassion is merit. The taste of emptiness is most excellent. Those who drink the elixir of emptiness to realize self and others' welfare are conquerors' children. Bow to them with your entire being. They are always worthy of honor in the three worlds. These guides of the world reside as representatives of the Buddhas. This awakening mind is stated to be the highest ideal in the great vehicle, so with an absorbed, determined effort, generate this awakening mind. To accomplish self and others' welfare, no other means exists in the world apart from the awakening mind. To date, the Buddha saw no other means. The merit that is obtained from mere generation of the awakening mind, if it were to assume a form, it will fill more than the expanse of space. A person who for an instant meditates on the awakening mind, the heap of merit obtained from this, not even the conquerors can measure. A precious mind that is free of afflictions, this is the most unique and excellent jewel. It can be neither harmed nor stolen by such robbers as the maras of affliction. Just as aspirations of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are unsparing, likewise those who immerse themselves in bodhicitta must hold firm their thought. Even with wonder, you should strive as explained here in the preceding lines. Thereafter you will yourself realize Samantabhadra's great enlightened deeds. By praising the awakening mind hailed by the excellent conquerors, the incomparable merits I have obtained today from this earth, through this may all sentient beings submerged in the waves of the ocean of existence travel on the path trodden by the leaders of the biped. Okay, next is Heart Sutra Mantra, 7 times. Tayata Om Gate Gate Par Gate Par Samgate Bodhi Swaha Tayata Om Gate Gate Par Gate Par Samgate Bodhi Swaha Yatha Om Gate Gate Par Gate Par Samgate Bodhi Swaha Yatha Om Gate Gate Par Gate Par Samgate Bodhi Swaha Yatha Om Gate Gate Par Gate Par Samgate Bodhi Swaha Yatha Om Gate गते पार गते पार संगते बोधि स्वाहा ॐ गते गते पार गते पार संगते बोधि स्वाहा. Thank you, Krishna.
Okay, taking aspiration Bodhisattva vow, as Pujala said, let us reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in front of you, so loving, caring, and embracing. And also let us reinforce the visualization of your two parents and all your family members and all sentient beings living down the slide around you. And you are taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and imagine that everybody is joining you so happily, that seeing that this alone is the final path to your full awakening, the waking up from the sleep of ignorance, full awakening from the sleep of ignorance. And this is the best offering that we can make to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is the best gift that we can think of, that you can imagine rendering to all new Dhamma sentient beings. And this is the wisest way by which to extract the meaning, to give a meaning to your life. So with that in mind, let's say the verses through the wholeheartedly. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and of which shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and of which shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successively dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and of which shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, continuation from where we left last time of Buddhist psychology. We're talking about the sevenfold divisions of mind, and we are going to more detail with the first one, direct valid perceiver. And within the direct valid perceiver, we talked about the sense direct perceiver, mental direct perceiver, self-cognizant direct perceiver, and the yogic direct perceiver. And the first one, sense direct perceiver, this is something important. The last time we also made the distinction between the sense direct perceiver versus the mental. In other words, sense consciousness versus mental consciousness. This is one distinction that we made last time. And what we learned, which is so important, is that the mental consciousness, each person, mental consciousness, the stream of the mental consciousness is one at a time for each one of us. We have only one mental consciousness at a time, one stream, only one stream. Whereas alongside the mental consciousness, we have the sense consciousness. And what we learned last time is that the mental consciousness for us, mental consciousness, it never stops. It began from the beginningless time, and it'll keep going endlessly. I want to use the word eternally. eternal has the connotation of permanence. So the mind is not permanent, the mental consciousness is not permanent, but it lasts forever. It just keeps going at all the way down endlessly, meaning that we are ordinary sentient being now, and then we become we enter the Bodhisattva path, and then we become Buddha. Still, the mind continues. This mental consciousness, it continues. So this at the moment, the difference is at the moment our mind is this mental consciousness, while the true nature of this mind is so pure, but we don't see the purity as of now because that is mixed with the mental dirt or the mental defilements. And the mental defilements referred to as the gross and the subtle one. Gross one known as the afflictive obscurations, and the subtle one known as the cognitive obscurations. And the gross one, it stops us from achieving the freedom from the miseries, and the subtle one stops us from achieving the infinite happiness. Okay, well, in other words, Buddhahood. So this is what we need to keep in mind. And when the mental defilements are removed in the form of the process in steps, gade gade para samadhi bodhisattva, then you reach the Buddhahood, the state of the Buddhahood. There, the mind, the purity of the mind becomes manifest. And but mental consciousness continues. Mental consciousness, the only thing is that at the moment it is defiled, and when you become Buddha, it assumes its true nature, the perfectly pure nature. So that's the difference. And then what we said is that the mental consciousness, while it is just always one stream, one flow within your mind, just one the mental consciousness arising one at a time. And alongside, we can have the sense consciousness. And a five sense consciousness: eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness. So these five sense consciousnesses can arise simultaneously. And the mental consciousness is always there, which means that the five sense consciousnesses can arise simultaneously with the mental sense consciousness. But the mental consciousness. A mental consciousness always exists, and the five sense consciousness, they come, go. When we when we are in the mother's womb, till the eye sense organ, ear sense organ, tongue, nose, till they are matured, the body sense consciousness is there, but not the other sense consciousnesses. So these distinctions we have to know. Then in the formless realm of the three realms, desire realm, form realm, formless realm. In the formless realm, given that there's no physical form, so there's no sense consciousness, only the mental consciousness. Okay, this one we need to keep in mind. Now for the sense consciousness, for the sense consciousness to arise, we see that there are three conditions required. So which last time we talked about: the observed object condition, or the observed object condition, and the uncommon empowering condition, and the immediately preceding condition. So there are three conditions required for the sense consciousness to arise. Yes, direct sense consciousnesses. These three conditions are required. Whereas for the mental consciousness, we don't require these three conditions. Only, the one factor is good enough. The immediate preceding consciousness is there, and that's good enough. Not necessarily the observed, the object condition, but of course the empowering condition. So that is required in the form of the. Okay, that is a separate story. Let us keep that for the time being. Keep it away for the time being. Now let's see that this is a very important point that we need to learn about the three conditions for the sense consciousness to arise. One is let me say that you are fast asleep. Then even if the flower is put next to your eyes, you cannot see that. You will not have the eye consciousness to see the flower. So the and if the flower is not at all in the first place, there's no way by which your eye consciousness can see that. So we need the flower. And then if you're fast asleep, or if you have the defective eyesight, then you don't have the eye sense power. Number two, uncommon empowering condition, meaning the eye sense power. And eye sense power, this is something which we need to talk a little bit more detail a little later. We need also the eye sense power. For example, like say somebody who is using very powerful eyeglasses, and then without which you cannot really read the books, we cannot really see the fine paintings. You cannot see the fine details of the paintings. Whereas only with the eye, although the paintings are there, fine details of the paintings are there, but if you don't have the proper eyesight, and when you remove your eyeglasses, you cannot see that because something wrong with the eye sense power. Then the next part is that even if the flower is there, your eye sense power is there, but if your mind is fully engrossed in something else, like in a deep meditation, what is known as meditative equipoise, or direct experience of emptiness, direct realization of emptiness, so that the mental consciousness is fully concentrated or channelized on the wisdom of emptiness. So therefore, all the other sense consciousnesses, they shut down. They shut down, which means that even your eyes are wide open and the flower is right there, the eye sense consciousness to the flower will not arise. So the immediate preceding consciousness is not actually helping helping consciousness to be directed towards the flower. So we need these three conditions. Now, particularly, okay, the flower is fine. Without the flower, we all agree that we cannot have this. And then, whereas if you're preceding the consciousness, if that is missing, again, you cannot see the flower. That's also fine. But what about the eye sense power? Yes, we can roughly understand this. What does it mean by eye sense power? This is the next question. This is a very serious question. What is meant by the eye sense power? So what we see as the eyeballs, these are not the eye sense power. These are what is known as the eye sense organ. And so we can say one is the eye sense consciousness, say where, yes, you can see the flower as different from the non-flowers. So that is this distinction made by the eye sense consciousness. Now, for this eye sense consciousness, we require the flower is the object, and then we also require the eye sense power, like the eyeglasses. We need eye sense power, and but what we see as even scientifically, medically, what we see as the eye lenses, these are actually these are not the eye sense power. These all belong to the category of the eye sense organ. Eye sense organ. Eye sense organ is like let's say this mug, this thermos. Thermos is the container. Organ is like the container, and the thermos contains the water. Likewise, eye sense organ that we have, this contains the eye sense power. It contains eye sense power. It contains eye sense. What is eye sense power? And for your information, eye sense power is something that we cannot see. This is known as a very subtle body. It's a very subtle body. It's a very subtle body, which we cannot see. Okay, this can be proven through reasoning, not through direct experience. Okay, so we have what we see as the eyeball or the eye lenses. These all belong to the category of eye sense organ. So never mix up the two things: eye sense power and eye sense organ. Okay, and sometimes when they are not really exposed to this the detailed study of this, then they translate the eye sense power as eye sense organ, which is wrong. Eye sense organ is a gross physical body which we can see and which we can transplant from one person to the other. Donate eyes. That is, you are donating eye sense organ. You are not donating eye sense power. Eye sense power you cannot donate. Your eye sense power is always yours. It is never somebody else's. So what you donate is the eye sense, the eye sense organ, not the eye sense power. Okay, so eye sense power is described as, okay, so the eye sense power, what we see, I'm repeating this again, what we see as eyeball, eye lenses, those all fall under the category of the eye sense organ, not eye sense power. And the eye sense power, what is eye sense power? It's a very subtle physical form. It's a very subtle physical form which cannot be seen, which can be proven only by reasoning, only through inference. Not and then of course it's not easy to prove it. That requires, in fact, the when we are studying Pramanavartika, I think Pramanavartika, the time we were doing this in Deer Park Institute in Bir, North India, in Himachal, close to Dharamsala, when we were doing this text there, the one girl, a very young girl, college girl, she attended the program. She's from Israel, and some of you know that. Oh, can you hear? Okay, okay. Swikim, you don't hear? You can hear. Swikim, can you hear me? Swikim, can you hear me? Okay. You can hear me, right? Okay, good. Yeah. So I was just wondering who's going to ask this question, and this young girl, a college girl, who I know since she was in her class, grade 9, when she was like age 14, she asked this question, and so this is something that is a very important concept. Eye sense power, likewise ear sense power, nose sense power, tongue sense power, body sense power. So these 5 senses, we can call them as senses, physical senses, or the physical sense powers, physical sense powers, or the physical sense. Or in a simple terms, eyes, nose, ears. When you say eyes, we can refer to the eye sense power. Okay. And whereas it depends, don't be too rigid with using the terminology. If somebody is using the word eyes to mean the eye organ, just use it in that way. But keep in mind that, okay, he or she is referring to the eye sense organ, not the sense power. So this distinction must be made. In other words, what eye sense organ that we have is like a container for the eye sense power as the content. This distinction we have to know. Okay. Then the mental direct perceive is fine. Self-conscious mind is fine. Okay. So now we move to the inferential cognizer. Inferential cognizer. This is important. Inferential cognizer is in a broad sense, you know what it is. Like, so last time, I think, who is that? I think it is Alexi, who said that, how do we know that we have the lungs? Because I breathe, and there is the machine inside me, which I cannot see. But without that, I cannot breathe. Although I don't see what that is, but there is something there. That is the lungs. Okay, this is how we infer. So that is known the inferential cognizer. Inferential cognizer plays a very important role. It's just for information. It says that finally our job for a wise person. For a wise person, the job is there's a common job that is to fulfill or to accomplish our common goal. The common goal is to get rid of miseries and to have the maximum happiness. This is what we are seeking. So for that matter, that process of getting rid of the miseries and to have the maximum happiness, there is put in the form of this mantra, Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhiswa. So how do we proceed this journey? This journey is proceeded with the help of the valid cognitions, be direct valid cognition or the inferential cognition. So by employing these two, how we proceed through this journey. Gade Gade Para Sam Gade Bodhiswa. And just for information, this is very important, a small piece of information, that it says that this is just very generic presentation, generic statement. We begin with the direct valid cognition. We begin with the direct valid cognition and then proceed to the inferential cognition and then again end up with direct valid cognition. This is a beautiful statement. Let me say it again. How we proceed through the journey is we begin with the direct valid cognition. Then it's formed followed by the inferential cognition, and then we end up with the direct valid cognition. So begin with direct valid cognition, and they end up with the direct valid cognition. In between, there's the inferential cognition. So what does it mean by that? So does it mean that the first I see the heart, I see my lungs directly, and then I infer it, and then again I see the heart? This is not a connotation. So it should be very logical. So the point is that let's say that we all have this problem. We all have this problem once in a while, where they say you feel so tense and so sad, so low, so tense, and in anguish, anxiety, and so much suffocated. How many of you had that experience at least once in your lifetime? Raise hands. Okay. So when that happens, and then if you're lucky, or if you're lucky, or let's say if you're if you are the open-minded, and if you're lucky, you go to somebody, and just share your the uneasiness. And if you're lucky, then a person will give you counseling. Also nowadays, people go for counseling. People go to meet the psychotherapist and the psychoanalyst and so forth. They go to different people. If you are lucky, other person will be very smart to really tackle your problem, and your problem can be solved just there without any medication. And in worst cases, medication. So in my case, if people come, and then when their friends report to me about this particular person with this problem, that problem, so forth, first I tell the people to bring the person, and the person comes. And when the person comes, I look at the mental state. If I say, okay, how are you today? Then if he asks me, are you President Trump? Then I say to go to the psychiatrist, right? If I ask, how are you, right? And so, okay, are you Mr. Trump, right? If this is the person's mindset, then impossible. So the thing is that the person should be able to at least listen to you, and the person should have a sense of judgment, proper judgment. Okay, this person saying like this person saying like this is my thinking, this is thinking. So this distinction must be there. If this distinction cannot be made, we cannot see the difference between me and Mr. Trump, then no hope, right? And then the first go to psychiatrist. This is the first thing. And with the psychiatrist, then everything will be made numb. Once everything is made numb, and then gradually some form of, the sensibility comes. The numbness is there. Virtuous mind, non-virtuous mind, everything will be numbed with the psychiatrist medicine, with the antidepressants. Everything will be numbed. Virtuous will be depressed. Antidepressants, will be suppressed, and the non-virtuous, everything will be suppressed. You become like a numb person. And then from there, if you gradually, some sense comes to you, then this counseling can happen. So there, Then they out of this situation, with this situation, then the point is that, okay, so what's the problem, right? And then you say that, okay, I have a problem. I see myself totally worthless. Okay, who is that person who is worthless? What is happening to you when you feel yourself you're worthless? What is happening? I feel myself so congested, so I just want to disappear from everywhere. Okay, so you see that there's something which is so solid, you feel something so solid, which you feel like dispersing it, which you feel like simply removing it. Yes. Do you really experience it? Yes. This is known as direct experience, direct valid cognition. So from there you begin. Yes, I can feel the suffocation here. I can see the corrosion here. I can see the heaviness here. Somebody told you, or you're experiencing it? I'm experiencing it. This is the direct valid cognition. You begin from there. You begin from there. And then if the person is a little smart, even the smartness, even that can be trained. So you can train the person to see that, okay, to make the distinction between I and you, right? I and you. There is something called I. Okay, there is also direct experience, direct valid cognition, and of a body. This is also direct valid cognition. This is how we begin. So then we see that, okay, this is impermanent. Impermanent is undergoing momentary change. Okay, I never thought about it before. So now you are taking the first step from that direct experience, direct valid cognition, to the inferential cognition. That the self is changing, that others are changing, this world is changing. Even my suffering will one day be over. Even this suffering that I'm going through now, even this will be one day over, and then it will become a memory. And then the next phase of suffering can come. If I'm not careful, if I'm careful, then the suffering can be brought to an end altogether. So this realization will come to you. That is known as the inferential cognition. The first, we begin with I have a problem, which is direct valid cognition. Then you see that this self is impermanent. This self is like a dream. No, how is it dream? So you cannot directly show this. So you have to prove it through establishing, using the inference. So in between, you start to use the inference to let the person unfold deeper realities on the basis of the basic realization of the self, the basic realization of the problems of the self. So the basic realizations is the basic realization of the self and the problems of the self, the happiness of the self. These all are coming to being through the direct valid cognition. You begin from there. And then you try to probe deeper into the deeper levels of the reality, like the emptiness of self, impermanence of self, and so forth. So that is done only through inference. And then once a person gets this inference that, okay, I'm like a dream, I should not really have a sense. And then when the person gets the feeling that I am like a dream, this heaviness dissolves instantly. Then seeing the connection between this realization that I'm like a dream, which the person gets in the form of the inference, through the inferential cognition. So through this, person realizes instantly you can feel the lightness of your mind. The heaviness simply disappears. Then person will meditate on it more and more. As the person meditates on this more and more studies, more reflections, and more meditations, then this experience will become more and more reality. This experience will become more and more alive. Initially, it was inference. Inference simply like copying from somebody else, or like a picture, or like the picture, and this picture eventually becomes real. So you have a direct experience of impermanence, direct experience of emptiness, and so forth. So that is the second phase, of the direct valid cognition. So we begin with the basic understanding of the self and so forth. So these are required. Without this, then you will not even have a desire to follow the path. So with this Now, for that matter, we need to have the basic understanding of what the self is and what the suffering is and so forth, with which we know through direct value recognition. Then this direct value recognition, from there, then you go deeper into the deeper realities. So the deeper realities, initially you get only through inference. So we move to from the direct value recognition to the inferential cognition. But the object is not the same. Object is different. The first one is very gross object. Second one is a very subtle objects. Then from the inferential cognition, you meditate more. And first, to get the inferential cognition, you have to have extensive studies. You need to have extensive studies. So one thing that I'd like to share with all of you is that that would be good if you can also share the same information with your friends who have inclination towards, dharma, or who have inclination towards wanting to get rid of suffering, really genuinely looking for, a genuine path. So for them, this information you can share with them. In fact, they say, I have some friends, say like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I meet, some people, I met some people, and I'm with some in a group of two, some in group of four, group of five, and so forth. This is how I meet people. And then after 5 years, after 10 years, so this is what exactly happening to not only to me, to every one of us. Our friends, our very near and dear ones, 20 years ago, they're all gone now. Now we have a new circle of friends. Do you agree with me or not? Right? Your college friends, your school friends, where are they? They're not around you, only one or two. Right? It's a totally new circle of people around you. So now looking back, they say, with my own life, the kind of people that I met. So if I met like 4 people, from there, of course, when I met them, they are mostly inclined towards Dharma. So this is how we met. Then of these people, 4 people, 5 people, whatever. So this number of the people, then after 10 years, after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, after 20 years. So even these people, they also disperse. And some go into, pure, total mundane activities like busy with the business and so forth. And some 20% with Dharma, 80% with the business or the university programs or whatever, and so forth. And then some into, still into contact with Dharma practice, Dharma. Within Dharma, some do really systematic studies, and some more into pure from the meditation. What do you call as meditation? Just single point meditation without the studies. Not interested in studies. So deviated from studies. So after a number of years, like 5, 10, 15 years, we can see the stark contrast between these two groups. The one who is just fully dedicated, thinking that what is Dharma? The Dharma is the meditation. And the study is just intellectual build-up. And the other person with the very systematic studies, then the rationality, then the meditation combined together, then after like 10 years, 15 years, I can see the stark contrast in the quality of the maturation. The first person was just where the person was, is where this person was. And the second person really developed, really progressed so much. So therefore, this is what is meant by we begin with the direct value cognition, and then we proceed to the inferential cognition, then to the direct value cognition. So without the in between inferential cognition, there's no way by which we can move to the third phase, which is direct value cognition pertaining to the subtle phenomena. That is impossible. So without this, then the Gade is impossible. Without the Gade, the whole purpose of enlightenment is impossible. It's just the stories. Okay, this is a benefit. So therefore, the inferential cognition plays a very important role in our life of the journey of the Dharma, to make the meaning, to extract a wise choice of your life, to make sure that our life doesn't go waste. Otherwise, say all of us, most of us,
we are doing our own practice, meditation and so forth, be very honest. Be very honest. Let's say a particular meditation that you've been doing for the last 5 years, in some cases 10 years. So in my case, I've been involved with the tantric practice, which I've been doing since I was in my 20s, and still I'm doing the same. There's no realization, nothing at all. Some kind of blessings may be there, but what really I can see difference is the meditation emptiness, and both these I can see the differences. But with the tantric the part which I've been doing, still I'm doing. But to be very honest, there is no. It can become worse, right? So to be very honest, each one of us, we are doing our practice for the last 5 years, in some cases 10 years, and so forth. Whatever practice that you've been doing, just be honest to yourself and see whether there is a progress there. How you started and what is now. And how we started, say 5 years ago or 10 years ago in some cases, 10 years ago. So how you started, it may be very gross, and then there may be little progress in 1 or 2 years. And from that, after 2 years till today, now 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, is there any difference? If there's no difference, something's wrong. To be very honest. So this is where, some people, they just focus, they say that, in fact, one of my friends, I would say friend, when we first met, showed some interest in the studies and so forth. Later on, just went into the other side, meditation. So what they call is meditation. There's nothing wrong with the meditation. The thing is that, okay, they get some peace. And in some cases, I said blissful experience. Okay, if you got this blissful experience, after say a few months or 1 year, then after 10 years, does it multiply or it remains static? This is a question. It remains static, then what's the point of spending more time on this? If it multiplies, if it keeps increasing, and then eventually that you're not affected by any external factors, that's amazing. But be very honest to yourself whether it's improving or not. There's a certain degree of improvement, and then at a certain point, some very cool sensation, tickling sensation, and some blissful experience. Then you keep doing this. What about after 10 years, after 20 years? It remains static or it's improving? It most likely, it'll become static, and in some cases, it can become like a very rigid thing, and it will not grow any further. So this is where the systematic learning is missing. This is where the inferential cognition is missing in between. So therefore, this very systematic studies, it is not for anybody. It is for your own wise choice. So a systematic study, reflection, alongside meditation. Don't compromise meditation with your studies, reflection, and the meditation. They all should go alone, go together. Good. Then your meditation, say those people, some of the real masters who have a brilliant, the understanding inferential cognition. For these people, they meditate for like 5 minutes. That can be as powerful as somebody meditating for like whole 10 months. 10 minutes of meditation of this person can be as effective, more effective than somebody meditating for like 10 months or 10 years. 10 years without that, the inferential realization. So this is the difference. This is what I really like to share with you. This is extremely important. Otherwise, it's pity that we are really wasting our life. We are making wrong choice. We are wasting our life. Okay. So with this in mind, the inferential cognition, inferential cognition, there are three kinds. Okay, one is known as the inference through the power of facts. And number two is the inference through confidence or conviction. And number three is the inference through renown, the three. Okay, let me just give you an explanation of what each one of these three are. let's say that, okay, let's say, okay, this the okay. What is better, to study, to keep studying, and then you will become learned? The chance of becoming learned is more, or not at all studying? Not at all studying. One ends up one always ends up in the pubs, nightclubs, and so forth, and then become a learned person. Which is more likelihood, right? Both are intelligent. Both people have both have extremely intelligent. They say average intelligence, and then one is always studying, and studying, dialogues, and the other person always in pubs, nightclubs all the time. So of these two people, of the two, who do you think has a greater likelihood to become a professor or a learned person? Of course, the first person who's spending time learning, right? Okay, so this is something, we don't really. And then what makes you think like this? Okay, this is my question to you. Of the two person, okay, of the two child, and the child A is spending some time learning all the time. Child B always in nightclubs, always with the, what is that, PUBG, the PlayStation and so forth. Always. And other child reading books, and then having the, say, dialogues with the parents, with the teachers, and so forth. Always like this. Of these two children, the first one with the studies, first one with the PUBG all the time, PlayStation all the time. Who do you think will become a learned? If there's somebody going to become learned, who's going to become? Most likely you will say the one who studies. And you're not seeing the results, but you know. How do you know that? Is it that the Buddha told you? Or is it that the Jesus Christ told you? Or is it that Ram told you? Or Prophet Muhammad told you? Or the Bahula told you? Or how do you know? Anybody? How do you know? Oh, nobody knows that. Okay. Anna Sophie, how do you know?
I think it's just logic. If he do the causes studying, he will have the results.
Okay, so you know through reasoning, through logic. Okay, not because the Buddha told you, not because the Jesus Christ told you. No, you don't have to cite anybody. You're getting it? We don't see it. You have your own experience. You have your own experience that I studied, and then now I know this much. If I studied more, then I'll know more. If I studied less, today I'll be a horrible person. Right? This is your experience. From your experience, you can then infer that, okay, this child, if this child continues, usually young boys and girls, when I meet them, and when they show keen interest, I never tell them that you will become very good. I tell them that you will become very good provided you continue like this. Right? Because we never know, the person may terminate. Right? And then later on the person will come to you, said, you said that I'm going to become very good and now I'm a horrible person. Right? I said that you will become very good provided you continue the way you are doing now. This is the maximum I can, the maximum prophecy that I can make. Not like that you will become very good, you will like this. No. If you study like this, 100% you will become very good. Yeah, when you reach age 30, 40, you will become very good. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this is something you can infer. This is a fact. It's a universal fact. It's a universal fact. You don't have to quote anybody. You're getting it? This is a universal fact which if you think a little bit, this universal fact which you will get to know. If you think a little bit, think a little rationally, you will understand that, okay, the one who studies more will surely become learned one, provided the person continues to be studying like this, no obstacles come in the way. Okay, this is known as the inference through the power of the facts, universal facts, the power of the facts. For example, as what Alexis said, that how do you know that we have lungs? I breathe, and there must be some machine inside which breathes, which helps me to breathe. That is the lungs. We don't see it, but we infer, and this is universal fact. It's not that only if you are Tibetan who breathe you have lungs, and the Westerners who breathe they don't have lungs. It's not a fact. This is not true. Anybody who breathes independently without any external assistance, anybody who breathes, and I say you breathe with the breathe in a proper way, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. There should be a machine inside. That machine is known as lungs. This is universal fact. So this is not something that you, okay, my biology told me, my biology teacher told me this, Albert Einstein told me like this, or the Professor Eric Handel told me like this. No, you don't have to cite anybody. In fact, one time I was just checking on the one young boy meaning he must be aged 6 or 7. He said that, okay, I gave him some almonds, and he said that almonds is my favorite. Then in the psychology, in the study of psychology, direct value cognition, inferential cognition, and within inferential cognition, they have the inference through power of facts, inference of conviction, inference through renown. All these things are there. And the boy said that without breaking this almond, he said that Geshe-la, the inside this almond is white. This is what she said. What he said. And I just like to check, what is this value cognition? I asked him, wow, this is amazing. How do you know? How do you know? And then he broke it and showed me, look, this is white inside. I said, wow, this is amazing. Without breaking it, you know that it's white inside. How do you know this? Who told you? He said, nobody told me. I know this myself. So this is known as the power of the fact. It's not about quoting somebody. For example, let's say the COVID vaccine. What is the efficacy of the COVID vaccine of the, what is that? Pfizer vaccine? What's the efficacy? 95. How do you know that? I just learned it from the media, the doctors, medical experts, the pharmaceutical companies. They said it is 95%. So this is what I believe. It's the inference through conviction. Conviction in somebody else's words, not through the power of the facts. Not through the power of facts. It's through just belief. Whereas here, this child who said that the almond inside is white. Nobody told me. I know that. So this is his inference, by the power of the facts. Okay. So one is the inference through power of the facts. And now this is so important. This is so important. The power of the facts means that this gives us the conviction in the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha, he said finally what will liberate us is through understanding emptiness. Where to get the wisdom of emptiness. Okay, that's amazing. Then how will I get it? You believe in me and then you'll get it. No, this is not the approach. This is not the approach. You study this. So this understanding of emptiness will come to you through the inference of the power of the facts, not through believing in somebody, through the power of the facts. So if it is through the power of the facts, we are so blessed. We are so blessed. In other words, we are lucky that the final tool of our liberation is inference through the power of facts. It's not through the belief. If it's belief, it's very scary. How can we believe? How can we gain conviction in what this person says? How can we? Okay, this person, what this person says, we have to believe in it. Why should I believe in it? Right? This is a huge problem. For a sensible person, this is a huge problem. Whereas if it is through pure, the power of the facts, we are lucky. We don't have to believe in somebody. Just study it yourself, practice it yourself, you'll get it. For example, let's say the thermodynamics, let's say the E equals mc square. All these equations, we don't have to believe in somebody. Just do the calculation, derivative, and it'll come. You'll get the answer. So this is known as the power of facts. So this is so precious, so precious. And the final tool to liberate us from the miseries and to take us to the infinite happiness, that is wisdom of emptiness. And this wisdom of emptiness, this emptiness, ultimate reality to emptiness, this can be known through, this can be understood through, you get it through the inference by the power of the facts. The first one, which is so important. Okay, the first one. And this power of the facts, the inference through the power of the facts. So how can we get this inference? So for that matter, we have to study the basic logic system, the system of the logic, how the reasoning works, the mechanism of the reasoning. So this will take us to the study of the Buddhist logic. Yeah. Okay. Then the next one is inference through confidence, or inference through conviction. Inference through trust, inference through conviction, inference through the confidence. What is this? For example, let's say that the phenomena can be classified. The phenomena is classified into two. One which is into three. Let's say into three. One which is evident phenomena. Evident meaning there's something which is so obvious, like this mug. I'm eager to have the apple juice, and I look at inside, I see it's a plain water, right? So that it has a plain water. This is evident. This is evident phenomena. This is evident phenomena. There's water there. This is evident phenomena, and there's a flower here. There's a flower. This is also evident phenomena. This is also evident phenomena. There's a flower here, right? We don't need any reasoning. We don't need to believe in anybody. Just say you can decide that yourself. So this is what we call as today in the modern legal term, we call it eyewitness. Eyewitness. I heard it. I saw it. I felt it. So this is a direct valid cognition. In the language, in the parlance of the Buddhist psychology, this is direct valid cognition. Now, there's the second category, which is a slightly hidden phenomena. Slightly hidden phenomena are those phenomena which we cannot see directly, but we can understand it. For example, like we don't see our lungs. We don't see the fire out there. For example, say, what is that? The sanitizers. The hand sanitizers. When you put them to flame, it actually, there's a flame there. There's actually flame there, but you don't see it. It's very scary. Somebody showed that, right? And say you put some hand sanitizer there, most likely with alcohol or with spirit there, and then you put fire to this. Put fire. You don't see the fire there. You don't see the fire, but actually there's a fire there. How do you know it? How do you know this? On this the hand sanitizer which was exposed to fire earlier, you put this paper on hand sanitizer. After a while, after just within a flip of a second, you see that it catches fire. So this fire. When you put off the light, then the fire will become visible. So this says when the lights are on, you don't see there. Then you put this on it, and then it catches fire. It catches fire. From this, we could infer that there was a fire there. So likewise, from distance, you see from a house, very unconventionally, the very intense smoke blowing like this. From there, you could infer that there's a fire there. Again, you don't see the fire, but you infer. So that comes under known as the what is known as the it's a part of the facts. Part of the facts when there's such a smoke billowing from nowhere, there should be a fire there. This is part of the facts. Okay, so the point is that there's one fact or this one class of phenomena which we cannot directly recognize, but we can infer through the part of the facts, part of the universal facts, universal reasonings. So this is known as the slightly hidden phenomena, number 2 category. So all these number 2 category phenomena, they are to be realized through the second inference, the first inference through the power of the facts, number 1. Now there is a third class of phenomena which falls under the category of the very hidden phenomena. Very hidden phenomena. For example, like your birthday. Okay, were you born on this earth? Of course I was born. All right. For sure not at before 60 years ago I was born, no doubt. But then when are you born? In this world today, nobody can figure out when I was born. Even I don't know. Even I don't know my birthday, right? So therefore, I tell my friends that when they send me birthday greetings, I say that, okay, I don't know that this is the correct date of birth. You're getting it? In this world, nobody knows. The Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, with the clairvoyants, they know that. But I don't have access to these Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So in this world, I can say that nobody knows my date of birth. Likewise, your date of birth. Okay, anybody who likes to share the date on which you're born? The date, not necessarily the year, just the date. Anybody? Okay, no one. Okay, Abelardo, which date?
3rd October 1948.
No, which date? 3rd of October. 3rd of October. Okay, Abelardo, how do you know that you're born on 3rd of October?
I was told.
I was told. Very good. I was told. Then I can see that there's a certificate there which said that I was born on this day, 3rd of October, right? So you have to believe in somebody. So there's one class of phenomena known as very hidden phenomena, which we cannot prove through, which we cannot directly see, which we cannot prove through universal facts, but only through believing in somebody. That is the third category of phenomena, which is known as very hidden phenomena. And for that matter, of course, there should be, the many criteria to be fulfilled to say that, okay, this person is the authority in terms of the knowledge of this particular the reality. It's not that anybody says anything, then that becomes the very hidden phenomena. No. Okay, Abelardo.
I want to add that I was born at 1 a.m. And I know all the facts of how much I weighed, how big I was, everything, because my father had a baby book for me, so I have it all in writing.
Yeah. Is it writing? Your father must be a little drunken at that point.
Oh no, he was a physician, a doctor, and so he.
Yeah, a doctor drinks.
No.
Doctors also drink.
Everything is written and very detailed.
Oh, no, I know. They drunk people also write.
No, he wasn't a drinker. No.
No, he wasn't. But once in a while, to give company to his friends.
No, to keep a record out of love for me. Out of love.
I know. This is what I'm saying. So you have to believe. You have to believe in the father, right?
Yeah.
That he's not a drinker. What he wrote is correct. Because he's not a drinker. He loves me. From this, then you infer that what he said is correct. You're getting it? In a way, you trust him. So you say that he's the authority in when I was born. He is the authority. And he's in a correct state of mind. And he loves me. right? From his handwriting, I can see that he's not drunk. You're getting it? So with all these, you can see that he is the authority. So I trust him. You're getting it? I trust him. So this is the meaning of the third category of phenomena, which we know only through trusting somebody else's the authority. You getting it? So what Abelardo said is precise. Precise meaning that to trust somebody, how to say that this person is trustworthy with regard to this particular object, this particular reality. So that requires, say, some criteria. So these criteria must be fulfilled. So like Abelardo's father, who wrote down all these details, he loves me, and then he's a doctor, and he, he wrote them all so well, he kept a record for me. So, all from this, any sensible person reads says, okay, yes, Abelardo, you're born on 3rd October. So because they trust your father. Okay, so this phenomena, which we come to know only through trusting somebody else's authority, the testimony of somebody else's authority, that is known as the very hidden phenomena. That is number 3. Then okay, so there are 3 classes of phenomena. Done. For the inference, we see that, okay, the first class of phenomena is known through the direct valid perceiver or direct valid cognition. Then second class of phenomena is understood through the inferential cognition, inference through the part of the facts. Then the third class of phenomena is understood or realized, or you establish this by the valid cognition through inference by the part of the conviction or the trust or the confidence. And then we have the third in the inference through renown. What is this third inference through renown? So this can more go into the it's a kind. It's the family of the first one. The third one is an inference through renown. First, I'll explain this. What the inference renown is. Okay. How many of you know that my name is Mary? How many of you know that my name is Mary? Okay, you're smiling. Okay, how many of you know that my name is John? Okay, John means you are not too smiling. Okay, you're a little serious. Maybe he has a British name when he was in Cambridge. John. Whereas how many of you know that my name is Mary? Everybody smiles. Why? You will say that, why? Tell me why. Anybody raise hand? Why you smiled? Why you smiled when you said that the Siu Chen?
Because Mary is a lady's name, not a guy.
Yeah, Mary is a lady's name, right? Okay, Mary is a lady's name. Why is Mary a lady's name? Why?
It's written in the book. When you want to
It's written in the poem, right? The poem. What made the poet? What made the poet? The
Mary.
use this word Mary for ladies. Why? Okay, so yes. Siu Chen, yes. Okay.
There is a book that states boy's name, girl's name. So
That's true. There's a book there. Who wrote the book? Somebody wrote the book, right? Somebody wrote the book. Okay. So this book came when? The first human being, when they came on 0.3 million years ago. When the first human being came on this earth, the book was there or book was not there? The book was not there, right? The 0.3 million years ago, the book was not there. Book just came gradually, right? So why Mary? Okay, let's say let's say Tenzin. Tenzin is a Tibetan name common to the boys and girls, a common name to the boys and girls. Tenzin is so generally speaking, if you meet a Tibetan, you can say, hey Tenzin, the person will turn to you, boys and girls, it doesn't matter. Most likely they will turn to you, right? So here in Tibet House, some of our staff, the Indian staff, they don't know the Tibetan names, Tibetan staff. So when they bring something, I said, who gave this to me? Then the Indian staff would say, it's Tenzin. And I said, which Tenzin? Then he get lost. He would say, receptionist Tenzin, or the computer Tenzin, or the secretary Tenzin. Yeah, okay. So what I'm saying is that, in fact, the labels, there is no rule at all that this paper should not be called as Tenzin. That there's no rule to say that I cannot be called as Mary. You're getting it? It's just a label, arbitrarily given. And not to mix up the boys and girls. So some names are confined to the girls. Some names are confined to the boys, made as some kind of rules by the human beings, not by the names. You're getting it? By the human beings. Okay. So in other words, the point is that I can be called by any name, and you can be called by any name, right? The Abelardo can be called as Julia. Abelardo can be called as the Marilyn, right? And then let's say the okay. There's the Smitaji can be called as and say the John. But John, there is John for the girls. There is John. I know there's one lady by the name John. Yeah. Okay. So the point is that the names, somebody arbitrarily give a name, a label to something, and then we start to see it is objectively real. Objectively real. You're getting it? This is how we objectify. Actually, the names are all coming arbitrarily. So this understanding of the renown, inference through renown, this understanding will help us to peel off the first level of the objectification. The very gross level of the objectification. We can say what it says that anything can be called by any label. Right? A boy can be called with the label Mary, Julia, or the Elizabeth, or the Sunita in Indian, right? By the way, Pooja, is there any boy by the name Pooja? No? Okay, say boys can be called as Pooja. You're getting it? So the point is that the labels are all arbitrarily given. There's no reason why this particular label should be given to this particular object. There's no reason there. It's all arbitrarily there. In other words, if you come to know that that's very true, what's so funny to say that Dorji, that he can be from tomorrow he will call Gishi Merila. That's perfect. What's wrong with that? If you stop smiling at this, oh, Gishi Merila is fine. What's wrong with this? Right? What's wrong with this? Right? And then if this is what comes to your mind, you have understood this experientially, inference through renown. Whereas if you see it so funny, right, which means that there's still a very strong objectification there, which needs to be peeled before you start to see the emptiness of all phenomena. You're getting it? This is the washing of the objective belief. Washing, cleaning, cleansing of the objectivity. Okay, so it says that in other words, if you get a conviction that any object can be called by any label, If this conviction comes to you, this conviction is known as inference through renown. In other words, anything can be renounced with any label. Any object can be renounced with any label. You're getting it? Okay. So if you this knowledge that any object can be renowned. Renowned means can be understood, can be labeled, renowned with any label. That knowledge is known as the inference through renown. Okay, so this falls under the category of in the class of the first, in the class, but it is the counted as a separate inference because this is a very important inference that we need to have. Okay. Then before we switch to the next is more the threefold division of mind. Before we switch there, I like to always also share with you this. In terms of the classification of the seven minds, seven divisions of the mind, we need to keep in mind that my one question to you is I will just randomly give you two sets of mind. One set you already have, the sevenfold cause and effect. Okay, you just try to just enumerate what these seven are right now. If you don't know them by heart, look at the text, and you try to just scan through what these seven are, and think of them. Do it very quickly. I'll give you 1 minute, and after this, I will give you another set. Okay, very good. Now, so this is the list, one group of the minds. There's seven divisions of the mind. The next group, I will just randomly tell you something, and then don't worry, I will just slowly tell you what they are. It's just I'll randomly pick up some, and then you try to tell me the difference between these two from what you think. Okay. The next list that I like to share you is like compassion, generosity, the generous mind, the mind wanting to give something, compassion, bodhicitta, I want to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, and then the let's say the sense of integrity. I should not be doing bad things. I should be doing good things. And then say I want you to be happy, right? Okay, so there's one group of mind like compassion, bodhicitta. They want you to give something or wanting others to be happy, and I should be a sense of conscience that I should be doing good things. I shouldn't be doing bad things. So this group, and another group, the sevenfold division which we already studied. Okay, now anybody who likes to give me your thoughts as what's the difference between these two groups? There can be many differences. Okay, anybody? Raise hands. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, the Raviji.
The first is a very established and a spiritual practice.
Okay, let us all listen to Raviji. The first one that we have in the book is what Raviji is saying that is very established and it's related to a spiritual practice. What about the second group?
The second group are the means to achieve the first practice of bodhicitta.
Okay, by the way, which is first, which is second?
The first group is the sevenfold cause and method.
Okay, good. Raviji, thank you. Anyone else? I'd like to hear your opinions. Anybody? Okay, no one. Huh? Okay, Shagun.
Keshala, the one stark difference that I can see to the list that you just gave us, that those are all conceptual things, or those are all conceptual mind. The list that you just gave us. But the other one that we've studied, it is not all conceptual.
Okay. Okay, good. Anybody else? Very good. Just give me your thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Jane?
I look at the sevenfold divisions as mechanics, and the second group as motivations, almost, or intent.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jane. Minodiji?
So, Geshala, something like what Shagun said, I look at the first group of the sevenfold divisions of the mind as the conceptual, the concepts, and the second group as the actionables, what you put into action.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Ben?
The first or second group, I don't know already, the compassion, generosity, and so forth. These are all very positive states of mind, whereas the second group of the sevenfold division of the mind, they are not all necessarily positive.
Okay, let's say okay, Ben, I'm sorry, so I need to expand the list now. Okay, listen that how I wish that Ben suffers, how I wish that Ben could not give the correct answer, right? This is all in this group, right? Okay, now the Anna Sophie.
It's more difficult with a more larger list. Perhaps the seventh division is more about how to cultivate wisdom, and the second one is how to cultivate more compassion.
Okay, how I wish Anna Sophie, could not give the correct answer. This is compassion. Okay, Abelardo.
The first list is about going from more valid cognition to less valid cognition, or wrong cognition. The second list are merit qualities and virtues which require valid cognition.
Okay, like may Abelardo give me the wrong answer. Is this virtuous?
No, that's
No. So I also included that in that list. Yeah. Okay, anybody? Smitaji?
I thought the list that contains the sevenfold division of the mind are kind of what, like Jane said, the mechanics of the mind, how the mind works, and the others, the compassion, generosity, bodhicitta, conscience, these are all states of the mind that work using these mechanics.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, the Hajunla?
Yes, Kishla, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, so with the
Okay, Hajunla is from NMC, right? Hajunla is NMC, you're expert. Okay, chart. I thought that Hajunla is the NDC batch 2 fresher. She's not fresher. She's the NMC, NDC1 all. She's expert. Okay, chart.
Okay.
Let's listen to her.
Yeah. The sevenfold division of the mind is like a path. And the other things you mentioned, like compassion and wishing someone good or bad things, is more like the result.
Okay, the first one is like the cause.
Yes.
Sevenfold is the cause, and the other list is like the result.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else now? Okay, Laura.
So the first list is like maybe like primary minds, and the second list is like mental factors.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, now Ladrilla, where are you? Well, Ladrilla, yes.
So with mind, we have two aspects. One is cognitive and one is affective. And on the first day of Buddhist psychology, we learned that sevenfold division falls under the cognitive aspect of the mind. And the list that Geshe-la gave now, compassion, generous mind, bodhicitta, sense of integrity, those fall under the affective side of mind.
Okay, what's the difference between cognitive and affective?
So cognitive is regarding the cognition to know, and affective is the movement or it's of the mind.
Can you give me an example
Of
how the cognitive and the affective distinction?
okay, so me perceiving Geshe-la right now on the screen is cognitive aspect, and because right now I'm happy, so that is my affective state of mind.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm happy. Okay, so let us say that what Ladrilla says is perfectly correct. So what the Jane said, what Smitaji said, and then what who else, and then what the Ben also, what Ben said. So we can see that the what you said, you are getting somewhere. So what Ladrilla said, this is the full picture. The point is that let's say that here in this group, some of us love flowers, and some of us dislike flowers. Let's say there are two groups: Group A, who the Group A which loves flower, Group B which dislikes flower. Now I ask you, what is this? Group A will say flower. Group B will say flower. So this is the cognitive side. There's no affinity there. There's no your mind. It does not show any affinity. I like it or I don't like it. This is not involved. It's just a pure what I think the Jane said as the mechanical. This is the cognitive. So yes, this is a flower. Then my next question: do you like it? I don't like it. And others say yes, I like it. You're getting it? That's affinity. So I say that may you be free from suffering. That's affinity. Okay, what is this person this person trapped in the avalanche in the Mount Everest? What happened to him? He's trapped in the avalanche. And then somebody with a cold heart will say, oh yeah, it is his mistake. And with the good heart, oh, how I wish that he's being rescued. You're getting it? So in both cases, cognitively, both know that the person is trapped in the avalanche. Both know this fact. So the sevenfold division, this is more about your mind, which has the knowledge. Cognitively, what you know of the object. That is a cognitive, the function of the mind. Then with this cognitive function, then you are, say, what do you call it? The affective side of the mind, the affinity. The affinity comes into play. Oh, I like it, I don't like it, and so forth. Right? For example, let's say we have no clue. Of okay. Let's say that we have no clue of the COVID-19. We have no clue of the COVID at all. Let's say somebody has no clue what the COVID is, and then when people all go in masks, it's so weird. Why do they go in masks, right? And the person may go without mask to the hospital, and particularly in the COVID department, finished. The person will get affected. Why? Because the person does not have this. The person does not have the affinity affinity not to go to this area. Why this person does not have this affinity not to go there? Because the person does not have the knowledge that there is what is known as COVID-19. So this knowledge is so important. So the affinity is what makes your mind to move, to go towards the object when it's nice, you like it, to run away from the object when you don't like that object. So that's affinity. So that affinity is determined by how nuanced you display this affinity is determined by how nuanced you know the object, you cognize the object. So the cognition of the object, that determines how nuanced the affinity side of the mind is. Finally, what moves your mind is the affinity side. Affinity, what is known as the affective mind. Affective mind and the cognitive mind, which Lajun said. So this is how, so therefore, there's a tremendous emphasis on the cognitive side of the mind, because with the cognitive side, this will determine how rich, how profound your affective, your empathy, your compassion, and so forth is, on the basis of how profoundly you know the reality. Yeah, so therefore, this group is about the cognitive side of the mind, and then the other side, like compassion and so forth, this all fall in the category of the affective side of the mind. And then, of course, we need to know both sides. And with the study, most of the study, when we speak of the practice, is mostly about the practice of somebody mentions about the merit side and the wisdom. So what is known as the affective side in the Buddhist psychology. So this can be put under the category of the merit side of the mind. And what we study here falls under the category of the wisdom side. But then within the wisdom, when you speak of the wisdom, which means the cognitive side. So when it becomes erroneous, then it goes down. It goes down in the list. And then as it becomes more and more refined, then you go to the top. That is wisdom. So correspondingly, the affective side, driven by the number 7, which is deceptive mind, it can be very, very destructive, extremely destructive, when you are driven by the deceptive mind or the wrong mind. When you don't know things, for example, let's say let's say what is that? There was this ammonium nitrate, I think. Belgrade? No, what is that? Which country was that?
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Okay. So what happened was that they know that this is something, as a nation you need to have all these things. So they stock all these things, the ammonium nitrate. They store all these things, but they did not have the proper knowledge. What can be the consequence if we don't know how to store them well with the proper precaution? Then the whole blast happens. So many casualties happen. Yeah, one thing, and then they say with any bad, for example, in the family problems are there. Illness can happen. Then poverty can happen. Then some failures here and there can happen. But how the parents, how the children, how smart they are to know the consequences, deeper consequences, and then on that basis, if they love the parents, if they love the family, then they will tackle it because of this knowledge. Even if you love the parents, even if you love the whole family, but if you're not if you don't have these fine knowledge of what could be the reason why all the parents, all the family members, they're becoming sick one after the other. If you don't have this knowledge, you can't help them, although you have to love. But if you have the proper knowledge, and not only you have the knowledge, but you know how to tackle them very skillfully, then with the love, you can help. So the point is that when driven by the wrong mind, driven by the deceptive mind, it can really destroy yourself, destroy others. And then the more the power, more the destruction can be created in the world, to yourself, to your family, and to the world. We can easily see in this world today, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll stop here. One or two questions if you have. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Kishla. This is to remind you the question that why compassion is always effective in non-Buddhas.
No, take compassion.
Why compassion is always effective in sentient beings.
Okay. So when did I tell you to remind me?
At this class, Kishla.
Okay. 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 Listen. Do you make this? Can you make this difference? What is this? Person A and person B. Person A who loves flower. Person B who hates flower. Right? And if I ask this, what is this? Person A will say this is a flower. Person B will say this is flower. So say in terms of affinity is neutral at that point to this question. Second question is asked, how nice is the flower? How nice is this? Person A will say beautiful, it's amazing. Person B will say so. Person A, the B doesn't like it. So person A likes it. So the person A, beautiful means the mind flows towards the object. It's beautiful. So there's a movement happening. The first one is a flower. There the movement is not happening. It's just a cognitive judgment. That this is a flower, this is not a flower. That's it. So that is known as the cognitive side. With the cognitive side, once you know that, okay, this flower, I like it. And then you like it means that your mind wants to look at it more. Your mind likes to have it. Your mind, in other words, your mind flows. Your mind goes close towards the object, towards the flower. That is known as affinity or the affective. The movement is happening. Whereas the first one is just the cognitive judgment. Yes, this is good, this is bad. Right? Say with your child, oh, my child is so good. And what about your neighbor's child? Yeah, he's good in knowledge, he's good in studies, right? But your child is very good in studies. It's very different. Cognitively is the same, but the affective wise is different. So compassion belongs to that category, that may you be freed from suffering, which means that your mind flows towards the other person, wishing that you be free from suffering. Without this, the mind going close towards the other person, and the compassion doesn't make any sense. So compassion is always the affective side of the mind. It's not a cognitive. Yeah. Okay. Last question. The Tripdiji.
Keshila, I have not understood I sense power. I've understood I sense organ, but I've not understood I sense power, except that it is a container.
Okay. So basically, this is not that easy. This is not just for the time being. Just learn this much, that what we can see, this is I sense organ. You're getting it? And I sense power. This is a very subtle. It's a very subtle. The physical body. Physical body doesn't mean what we can see. This is a very gross one. What we can see all fall under the category of the gross, the physical body. So the eye sense power, nose sense power, ear sense power, all the five physical sense powers, they fall under the category of the very subtle physical body. And okay, so for the time being, if you know this much, it's good enough. And then later on, when we study Pramanavartika, which comes under the Master's course study, because if I go into this, then the like 50%, if not 80%, will drop. Right? I don't understand anything. Okay, this is not really for me. Okay. They say some of the texts, when we say, oh, there's another exercise there, many people may come with the feeling that, oh, it's about meditation. Then when we start about all these technical studies, oh, there's no dharma there, dharma meditation, so he's not teaching anything like this, sitting, right? So they drop. So if I talk this, it's so too dry, nothing comes to my mind, this is not for me, right? They will drop. Then you'll be responsible then. Okay, so what I'm saying is that this we will study as the majority of people, we grow more in your knowledge. So in the process, we are actually say sharpening our intelligence. What do we do now? Is sharpening our intelligence. Believe it or not, you may think that you are not so intelligent. Many of you may think that you are not so intelligent, but when the next NTC batch 3 comes, and then if you are part of the NTC 3, if you also join NTC 3, then you will see that, okay, now I can see where I am. So this much you have grown in your intelligence. You're getting it? So even our intelligence the grows. So as we grow, become more mature, then this question can be dealt. Good. Okay, we'll stop here.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Additional dedication preface. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chengisri Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deed. Chule Guche, Ma ke Panam ke Guche, ke Panya Pa me Payam, Bhume Bhungu Sarvasho. May the supreme bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 3 times and to the upholding of the dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect will, and the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy. May the forlorn find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from their illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be free. May the powerless find power, and may people think of benefiting one another. By the merits I have accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the mind of bodhicitta, and may they always engage in the bodhisattva's conduct. May they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the action of devils. May no living creature ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill. May no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures ripen solely upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. Having dispelled all inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, oppression, cruelty, epidemics, and natural disasters due to environmental degradation, may all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may dharma and the auspiciousness proliferate. in all the places where we abide. The path of the union of emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector of both the Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operation of evil thoughts and deeds, of the negative forces of humans and non-humans who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truths of the three jewels. By the dependent realization of profound suchness for appearance and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of the three jewels and the power of the truth, and the virtue of infallible law of karmas and their fruits, may the truthful prayers of ours begin unhindered and quickly fulfilled. May the teachings of the beneficent one till world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thought. May it always be met by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May I never falter even for an instant to uphold the excellent way of the sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my lives, even giving away my body and life. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance this teaching achieved by the Supreme Savior through strenuous efforts over countless aeons. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages in the path. May I quickly attain the state of Avajitara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent origination in particular, even at the cost of my life. Our Sutra Mantra. Yatha gati gati pargati parsangati buddhi swaha. Yatha gati gati pargati Parasangati buddhi swaha. Yatha ungati gati pargati parasangati buddhi swaha. Thank you, Dipeshla. Thank you, Vishila, and everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Geshe-la. Thank you, everyone.
Geshe-la. Thank you, Prajula.